Yesterday, someone put in several pips in PlugShare, indicating a fork in the road for the Shell Recharge network, which I'll get to in just a second. First, I want to go over who Shell is. They're the second largest investor-owned oil and gas company on the planet. Last year, they had revenues of $0.3 trillion with a T. That's so much money. Tesla just did their third quarter earnings, and to put this in perspective, Shell's revenues for 2023 are basically about 12 times what Tesla is able to produce. So one of the largest companies on the planet, basically. Just incredible amount of money that they have at their disposal, all in the oil and gas vertical. And they've made the investment in all these different sectors of oil and gas, making them a very vertically integrated multinational company in this space. They also have additional brands: Jiffy Lube, Pennzoil, and Quaker Steak. I didn't know that when I was doing this research. I just found that out. Last March, they had a presentation, and I'll link the actual PDF down below in the description, called Energy Transition Strategy. And it's a rather wordy document, but it caused several headlines to come out at that time that were published from EV-centric news outlets. And it had to do with these two paragraphs here. The first thing is that they're going to be growing our portfolio of low-carbon fuels and charging for electric vehicles in markets that meet our investment criteria, such as China, Europe, and the USA. Okay, so they're going to be creating new EV charging stations. That's cool. Secondly, we are upgrading our retail network with expanded electric vehicle charging and convenience offers in response to changing customer needs. In total, we plan to divest, meaning close, around 500 Shell-owned sites, including joint ventures, a year in 2024 and 2025. So I don't know if people remember, basically the way this equated to headlines is Shell is closing 1,000 gas stations in order to put in EV chargers. Those were the headlines, and it all came from these two paragraphs. I have been watching Shell Recharge in the Alternative Fuels Data Center database for quite some time for any indication of that this was actually going to start happening. And I really wasn't saying it was just more of the same. All the usual activity that they were doing was continuing. I did see that there was a increase in the average size of the stations as time was going on. So it did seem like they were being a little bit more deliberate. And this is from the Alternative Fuels Data Center database. There's 411 stations in total. But one thing to note about these stations, oftentimes they'll provide back-end services for other independent CPOs. So not all of these 411 are Shell Recharge owned. However, many of them are, especially as of late, because I've been watching. And if you look, what I did is I ran a search for anything where the station count was over 5. And if you look at these dates, basically 2020, and it's just kind of piddling along. But then in 2024, we're starting to pick up steam with the number of stations over 5 stalls. And a couple of these ones are pretty big. So that was a pattern that I was starting to see. And then what happened yesterday was a rather dramatic shift. 4 locations were added into PlugShare by PlugShare user Brennan. No idea who that is, but it was the same person who added all the stations all on the same day. The locations came with drone shots, and I'll show you that in just a second, street level view photos sometimes, and clips of the TDLR record for the build of the location. So all these stations were added right around the same time. They had drone shots and site plans from the TDLR. Let's go ahead and take a look at what it looks like on PlugShare. So you might say, well, why is that a big deal? And the reason this is a big deal is because these are sites that are not Shell gas stations getting DC fast chargers. These are blank plots of land. This is the first time I've seen Shell Recharge do this. Let's go to the first one. As you can see, construction is already occurring. There's a fence up, and this is the plot. And I guess a little bit later, you could see that they're doing trenching with the conduit getting laid. Whoops. And as I said, the TDLR project plan indicating Shell Recharge EV Hub with charging stations. You'll see lots of these. We'll talk about canopies as well. So they're doing canopies. I'm sorry, this is the next one. Again, already under construction. And here's a drone shot, as I said. So someone went and did a pretty deliberate effort in order to capture all these and put them into the database all at the same time. And it's not uncommon for general contractors to carry drones with them in order to get shots. So maybe it's the GC and he was told to put them into PlugShare or something by Shell. I mean, honestly, I don't know. But these sites are now under construction and in swing. Again, the TDLR record. Let's go to the other two. And I will link these PlugShare sites down below in the description. Here's the third one. Again, fencing up. And if you look, this camera system seems to be the same on every one. So it looks like they're using the same general contractor, probably just to save the site tools and any equipment before it gets installed from the theft from locals or whatever. I don't know. But there seems to be that camera thing at each one of these locations. And the fourth one. Estimated costs, $2.25 million, privately funded, 1,300 square feet, and here's the plot. So, significant change in direction by Shell Recharge, where they're, instead of just plopping DC fast chargers at Shell stations, they're now going into blank real estate and building EV charging hubs, is what they're calling them, as a greenfield approach to an EV charging station. So that is a dramatic change. And I'm not quite sure what this is going to look like, but we'll definitely keep their eye on them. Thanks for watching.